professional academic podcast. As always, I'm your host with the most overdue assignments on my Canvas dashboard, Jacob Watts. And joining me today is the honestly no, I'm kidding.
Wow.
Honestly, just an amazing dancer, super talented, funny, sarcastic icon, Kailey Fugate.
Hello. I love that intro. We were just talking about that. I think that's probably the best intro I've ever had, Jacob. So it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh, thank goodness. I always get super anxious. It's so hard being so talented, living up to my own fame. But
It's a hard life for you.
I know no one understands. But anyway, Kim, there's people that are dying. Kailey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. I'm really excited.
Oh, good. So you have not heard the rumors. Great. Fantastic.
Exactly.
So, Kailey, I know you and I go way back, but would you mind introducing yourself to our audience and giving them just like a little bit of background information about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Whatever Jacob has said about me previously is not true at all. Um, we've known each other for most of our lives at this point. Yeah, my name's Kailey. I am currently an account executive up here at a marketing company in Chicago. I went to Ball State University. I do play formally Quidditch. It's called quad ball now. I'm very excited to talk to you today, Jacob.
Well, I'm very excited to talk to you after I've already offended you in the first 30 seconds.
I think I'll learn to forgive you eventually, but we'll see.
Not that deep of a friendship loss.
not that. I barely know you. Barely.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember the first time that we met?
I get asked this a lot by people in our friend group, and I have absolutely no recollection of our childhood together.
Like other people ask you this or ask about me and you specifically?
Me and Shelby were talking about it the other day, our mutual friend, about how we met. I'm like, I'll be honest, you just kind of appeared in my life and never went away. I can't pinpoint the exact moment we met.
I'm like a debt. I just have
yeah, it's just I get a call every once in a while from a collector, like, come on. And I'm like, oh God, here we go again.
Like we haven't hung out in a minute. Where are we going? You're like, oh, this bitch again.
This guy again. Come on.
Yes, Robert. What do you want now?
Do you remember when we met?
I do. I don't know if it's the very first time, but I think
first memory.
It's like my first memory. And honestly, this is revealing our age a little bit.
Oh no.
But we were young, like very, very young. Like I was barely conscious. But our moms, I think I'm remembering this correctly. Watch it be like I dreamt this whole thing and it's not real. But I remember my mom and your mom met at McDonald's, and you and I were up in the play place.
I do remember this act. Like I have very faint memories of it.
Okay, so either we had
they were trying to get rid of us. They were going to leave us there at the McDonald's and walk away, but we kept going back to them and keeping track of them.
I swear,
like you can't lose us.
No, I swear, the children had to have been lost in that thing. Like there was no way.
There were so many dark tunnels, twists and turns in that play place. I'm sure they've lost countless kids. That's why they had to shut it down.
Yeah. I remember one time I left a chicken nugget in like a corner of the tubes and I went back and it was still there like a week later.
Like, I left myself a little snack.
But no, I remember because my mom, love her, like she basically hid me from the world for a bit. Like her words, not mine. So by the time Luke showed up, they're like, "Oh, Sydney had a baby and a toddler." Apparently,
they're like, "Where'd you get this blonde kid from?"
Literally, and yeah, and I don't know, like, if you guys had like just moved or what, but like I remember, like very early on, that was just like, "Oh yeah, this is Kailey," like da da da, and then
your mom's like, "We hid him from the world. We have to find him a friend." She's like, Sherry, please bring that weird kid you have. I have another kid. They need to like make some sort of childhood connection.
And here we are.
And here we are, still two weird kids.
Yeah. But just, play McDonald's.
Slightly better looking.
But you were never ugly. I was straight up ugly.
I don't know. At one point, I cut off most of my hair, and most people thought I was a boy.
I like you never gave like boy at all.
Oh, good. Thank God.
But I'm 24 now. I was at maximum 4 years old. So I've known you for at least 20 years. Like,
oh my God, that makes me want to throw up.
I know that's disgust. That makes me ill.
That's so crazy.
I know, but here we are.
Here we are, 20 years later.
Yeah, and seen it all. We survived Y2K. Technically, we were born. We were born. Survived.
Technically, yeah.
Survived. The Mayan calendar ending in 2012.
That had me going for a little bit. I remember the day it was supposed to happen, sitting in our family's like computer room. That should also date me a little bit.
Not the computer.
And being like, yeah, not the computer room, waiting for the end of the world. I was like watching it on our like shared computer, family computer. And I was like, okay, well, if it's gonna end, I guess I'm gonna watch it. I was like watching these people in Times Square, thinking, that is a little cringy. Of all the places, if the world's gonna end, you want to be in Times Square with a bunch of mascots and like sewer rats? Like, I'd rather be out in the country enjoying nature or watching the world end.
Yeah, I don't want to be. I don't want to be bumping around people having to say, I guess we don't know how to say excuse me.
None of that Midwest hospitality. They're just elbowing people.
Do you think Midwest hospitality is a real thing?
Yes, I absolutely do.
I think so too, but like I think Midwest hospitality and small town Midwest hospitality are two very different things.
Oh yeah, like people in Chicago are like nice enough, but it's not the same as like when you're in a small town. But people still up here say, "Oh, well, let me scoop pat you." That's how you know you're in the Midwest.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to preface this like they're not rude by any means, but both in my master's and my PhD, I've worked with people who are nice, but I can be like, yeah, you're not from the Midwest because like what you did would have been like considered rude by like 15 standards.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Like the Irish goodbying.
I do not understand people who can do that. I have to say goodbye to at least the host and say goodbye 15 times and then I can leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, literally. And like for the viewers at home, well, maybe not from home, maybe anywhere you're listening to this, but I like my extended family, like pretty much all lives in like one tiny county in Indiana. So like every holiday, there's like 50 of us at minimum gathering. And I still find time to say goodbye to the host and like whoever's doing it, just because like that's like how honestly just like how we were raised. Like that was just like how you do.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But and even my mom was so good about this. Like her friends at work, she was always the last one to leave because she stayed hella late all the time. So she usually didn't have anything to say goodbye to. But if she left before her friends did, she was always like, all right, bye, see you tomorrow. And in my lab, people just Irish goodbye and like leave without telling anybody. And I'm just like, ooh, in Indiana, you would have been considered rude asses, all of y'all.
I know when I first like had my first got into an office job, it's like very routine for people just to get up and leave at the end of the day. And it would like kill me if I was leaving and like my boss wasn't there. I'm like, all right, goodbye. I was here. Bye. Like I always feel the need to say goodbye to someone on my way out, and that doesn't happen a lot. So I'm like, there's this like Midwest guilt in my chest every time I leave work.
Yeah. No, if my like advisor like has her door shut and she's working, I won't bother her. But
Mm-mm.
But if her door's open, I'm like, okay, bye. Like, see you tomorrow. And like everyone is in lab. I'm always like, all right, everyone, bye. And I'm so grateful because I'm starting a trend where like other people are saying goodbye before they leave. And I'm like, yes, finally, global domination.
Yeah, ends of 2024, saying goodbye to people out. Irish goodbyes.
Yeah. And like as someone who is of Irish descent, like that gotta go. I feel like
That's got to go.
yeah, I am of Irish descent and I have been to Ireland and Northern Ireland. I feel like I have a valid opinion on this.
You're practically a citizen at this point.
I mean, let me rule the country. I mean, like, what's the worst that could happen?
Oh, nothing at all.
Actually, don't. Like, I would be very, I would be horrible. I would be so bad because they're like, "Hey, Jacob, can we have Fridays off?" I was like, "Yes, 4-day work week for everyone." And then society collapses because I do not know.
Yeah.
How to play.
See, I have the gene where I believe I can do, if I like think of something, I can do anything. So like feel like I could run a country. I don't know if I could do it well, but I could definitely do it.
No, that's exactly what I think. And it's like, I don't know. I've always like called it for me, like my homosexuality lets me believe I can do anything.
It's just the innate power within that I can do literally anything.
Yeah. No, and it's not rooted in anything other than just vibes. Be like, yeah, I could totally do that. Like,
Yeah. Like I see on TikTok is really bad about enabling me too. But I'll see like little DIYs and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, if I just had the materials, I could do it. And then it leads me into buying said materials, doing it for a couple of days, and then I'm okay at it. And then I'm like, okay, next thing. Let's move on.
dude, I swear TikTok's horrible. That's what led me to get like a walking pad for my apartment, like a treadmill walking pad.
Oh, you got influence, Jake.
I know. I've been using it every day for like 3 weeks though. So like,
Now, I will say in -4 weather, I kind of do wish I had a walking pad.
mhm.
I love going on walks, especially like after a work day during the summer. It's so nice and it's not going to get dark until like 8 or 9. Like I love to go on like 3, 4 mile walks after work. Just
Yeah,
like
like
listen to music or my audiobooks and like decompress from the day.
yeah, like by a pond and some trees.
Yeah, I like to walk. I'm really close to the lakefront here in Chicago. So I like to go on that path and like walk along the lake and maybe I'll sit at the beach for a little bit and read a book and then continue my walk. It's just like getting out in nature and like decompressing and forgetting about whatever I did at work that day.
Honestly, like I say this before, you can absolutely love your job and you can love the people you work with, but like you need to have time to decompress.
Yeah.
And for me, like I especially hate like not hate's a strong word, but like my peak months are definitely not like January and February because it's dark at like 4
Yeah.
and then it's cold, but you don't have like the holiday spirit to zhuzh it up. And then if you're chronically single like me, Valentine's Day is just a reminder that like you do not have it together.
It's like January and February are my hibernation months. I like don't get out a lot. I like will go to the gym if I work from home. Um because I can get there before dark, but I don't like to go out in the dark
Mhm.
because I get sleepy and I'm like it's so cold outside. I just want to be tucked in my bed. Like I do not like going outside the house in January and February.
Me neither. And I was out to dinner with like with my friend the other night and I saw children out and it was dark. I was like, why are these children just out? And then I looked at the clock, it was like 5:30. I was like, oh, this is like a
You're
normal
like,
like children.
okay, grandpa, maybe the children can be out. Like it makes me feel like a grandmother, like everyone should be in bed by 9:30. There's nothing else to do during the winter. Get in bed, go to sleep.
Well, because like once it's dark, I'm like, okay, day's over, I guess. Time to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, oh no. And like the other day, I say the other day, this is like 2 months ago. But I had to TA an exam. Oh my god, which I just realized I never sent that out for this new semester. That's crazy. But anyways, I was taking the exam. I didn't get done till like 6 p.m. Well, it was dark. Well, it was dark already, and I had to like walk home in the dark. And I was like, "Oh, like this is not live, laugh, love. Like I don't like this."
No. 6 p.m. is actually midnight in winter time in my head.
Mhm. But I refuse to wake up early.
Yeah. That's the
Like
problem too. I'm not going to wake up any earlier to enjoy the day.
no, like I'm not. Like sun wants to set at 5. Cool. I'm not getting up at 5, but like y'all go have fun. Y'all stay safe.
I
Like
did get up last week to go to the gym. I got up at like 5:30. I made breakfast. I went to the gym at like 6:30 and I came back to get ready for work and I was like, "Oh my god, I get why people do this. I feel superior to everyone else in the world." I
you,
think it's just like a superior. Oh my god, superior concept. I can't even say the word.
yeah, maybe you're not feeling that superior. But
Yeah, not really, but I was like, I'm better than everyone else in the world.
no, you sound like if you did that and you told me about that, I'd be like, okay, well, she wins like this year, I guess. Like I'm not. I the other day I went into a doctor's appointment and I don't have classes till 11, so I usually just like I'll either go into lab or like I'll stay in and like just read a paper before I go in. But I had a doctor's appointment, so I was just like, okay, I get there at like 8:45 and like I go in, have like visit with the doctor, get labs done, and then I come into lab and it's like 9 uh 50 about 10 o'clock. And I'm just like, wow, I am crushing it. Like this is fantastic.
I think it is just like I'm doing something I don't do every day. I'm obviously better than everyone else. It's like seeing TikTok, you see these influencers like, here's my 9 to 5 or 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5. I'm like, there is no way you do that every single day. Like
Yeah.
I had that day last week and then the next day I didn't wake up until 8:30 and I like slumped out of bed and went straight to my computer to start working.
I that's got to be a lie like for those influencers. There's no way cuz I fully don't believe it's like my 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5, then it's like another video of like that what I do in my 9 to 5, and then afterward it's like my 5 to 9 after my 9 to 5. Like I really don't believe your life is that regular. And
No.
if it is, I am concerned, low key.
Like I know I'm a little bit of a mess, but like I have a very loose schedule in my mind of my life. These people are like military sergeants with how they perceive their life to be online. And like I would be tired at that point. I like being lazy some days. Sometimes I'm more productive than others, but like today I didn't get out of bed until like 1 o'clock. It was too cold. I wanted to enjoy my like restful time. I read a book this morning. I like made breakfast. I just wanted to like not be confined by structure on a day off. I wanted to chill. And I think that's what influencers need to do. They need to chill.
Yeah. You know, being a mess is fun. And if you're going to be a mess, be a hot one. Like I don't know.
That's my life motto. If you're
Yeah.
going to be a mess, be a hot one.
Hmm. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna say that when I walk in the lab this week and then be like, oh, this bitch again.
They're like, yeah, damn right it is.
I'm also like in my lab with there's 3 grad students and I'm the youngest one. The one who's been there the longest, she's 33. The middle one between us is like 30, 31. And then I'm 24. And I walked in the other day and be like, what up, Gagarillas? How we doing today?
Oh no.
The way they both put their headphones on so quickly, it was so funny to me. They were just like, not, no, we can't deal with this one.
Like, not today.
No, I've said it before, but sometimes I feel like I'm their like annoying. Like I feel like sometimes like I give off the unplanned like younger sibling that came along because like they're like a year or two, but like difference between them and like how long they're in the program. And I'm like brand new. Like I'm 3 to 5 years like behind both of them. And I'm just like, hi guys, what we doing? What's going on? Like,
You're bringing the excitement to the lab, is what I'm hearing.
I told them the first day I walked in and be like, the personality is here.
I'm here to brighten up your life. I'm the personality hire.
I say that every day. Yeah, because we also got a postdoc at the time, and she's just like a rock star, and all the like our lab managers, fantastic. Both the PhD, well, they're technically PhD candidates, but like PhD students in the lab are just phenomenal. Like just some of the smartest people ever. I'm just like, well, I don't have the academics. Strategy doesn't rank up, so relying on personality, it is.
I guess I'll bring the personality.
I guess. I mean, like, I am the only gay one in lab, so like that's not hard. But enough about me. So Kailey, you talked about it briefly, but can you walk us through your motivations for choosing Ball State and what you initially wanted to study and how you kind of like walk us through that process, if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course. So in high school, I really struggled with a lot of academic areas. I am dyslexic. And I've always had like this feeling that I was behind everyone else. I was very insecure about like my intelligence and just how I was perceived in the in my academics in high school. So I didn't like have like big expectations for college, like where I was going to get into. I was, of course, a hot mess even back in high school. So I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do with my life. I had a lot of different paths in front of me, but I wasn't sure which one I wanted to choose. I had thought about going into like more of a creative field with like acting or stage production. And I had tried to pursue those fields, but it didn't really work out. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll go to a state school to make it a little easier on like financials. Not that it helped that much, but state of the world. So I ended up choosing Ball State just because of its size, and it had a lot of good programs. And I had been accepted. So I was just trying to like think of what I was good at in high school and what I would want to pursue. And I was very interested in talking and like getting to know people and like building relationships. And I had always been interested in writing. So I was trying to figure out how to like combine those into one thing. And my mom had suggested to look into PR. And I had begun to look into their program at Ball State. And I was like, okay, I think this is where I want to end up. And so I chose that. And at Ball State, I like learned the very basic tenets of writing, like in the business world and marketing, and building those relationships within like professional settings. And I was like, okay, I think I can build something here for myself.
That's really cool. And I'm going to brag on you just a second. Kailey is probably one of the most entertaining people I know. And like, I really genuinely mean that because I mean, even in show choir, the way that you perform, entertain, your creativity is very impressive and it's just fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
You're welcome. And I'm glad to see that your creativity um, did not end because, and I may have this wrong, but at Ball State, I found a podcast you were on called Mythcasts.
Yes. So, during my time at Ball State, I had gotten into so they have this journalism program at Ball State, which is a very renowned program. But within it, they have student media organizations. There's several different news outlets, but I had gotten involved in one called Byte. I'd become the social media manager at the time, community manager, And I had begun getting involved in like podcast editing and creating videos. There were a couple of different episodes that I had been involved in. But I didn't think at the time this was just like some skills I wanted to learn. Just because it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I think I can do it. And I did it for a little bit. And then I got into my grad program. And for our second year, like final project to graduate, we had to do one of two things. We had to do a solo project and then a group project. Um, and in that group project, my cohort did a thing called Mythcast, where we took the basic tenets of our grad program and applied them to like fantastical worlds that had been created in media, and was trying to show the world how we use the tenets of our program in basic like user design.
That's so cool.
It was such a cool project to you use so many different ideas and blended them together. You use like postscript or like screenwriting. You used your editing skills. You did voice work, which was not something I've ever done before. But it was a cool mixture of like all my favorite things.
Yeah, and obviously it did really well. I mean, it's got 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Thank you. That might be everyone I've ever showed. I'm like, please see this and review it and give it all good stars. But I hope people still listen to it today. It is a cool like little project we did.
I love that so much. And I just gotta ask, like, when you were, well, first, I have so many questions, but like I'm gonna try to rein it back a little bit. So going back to like undergrad and like you're at Ball State, like you're enjoying your time, um, just girls want to have fun era kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know why, but like that just seems like it would fit. I don't know why I chose that song, but it felt like it would fit. Did you always plan on going and getting your master's, or was that kind of a thought and plan that came afterwards?
Yeah, so I went into Ball State with my associate's degree, like you, through Ivy Tech, through our high school. So I had a lot of credits, and I was technically a junior going into my undergrad program. So I knew that I would only be there for about 2 years with my undergrad. And as I gotten into that second year, I was 19 going on 20, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to like be out in the world yet. There's so much I still want to learn. So I had been like talking to a couple advisors. We have like a big department party at Ball State where they highlight the different programs, the different student organizations. And I had met this girl at a booth for emerging media design and development, or EMDD as the program's called. And she was talking to me about what EMDD is and like how it functions in the world, and how it can like shift your perspective on design in like everyday products. And I was like, oh, that's really cool and something I would really be interested in. I like took her card, and I had decided to meet up with one of the advisors of the program to talk about it further. And as I talked to more and more people, I'm like, okay, I think this is something I would really be interested in learning. So I made the decision to apply for the program. I got in, and as history from there.
That's so cool. I mean, I think that not wanting to enter the workforce immediately at 20 years old is a very normal.
I mean, what person's going to hire a 20-year-old with very little experience with good with a good pay? I didn't get good pay at my first job going in at 21, 22, so I needed some more experience before I entered the workforce.
Yeah, that's why I'm still in school. Be like, nope, not right.
No.
Can you imagine if, like, after I get my PhD, I'm like, all right, going back to the bachelor's.
All right, we're starting this over again.
The remix.
The remix.
No. So just because I know your family, how did they react when you were told them like, yeah, I'm gonna go get my master's?
My parents were very, very supportive of it. I had kind of explained to them what the program was. They didn't really get it because it is such like a niche program, but they were excited that I was excited about something, so they were always very supportive of it.
That's awesome. I mean, like I figured they would be. Like your parents have always been, at least from what I know, like very supportive of you. And enter Kailey drops the like mommy and daddy dearest books, like launching.
Yeah, they love me kind of. Every once in a while, they'll tell me they love me, but other than that, they shove me in the cupboard under the stairs.
Oh.
Just joking to your audience.
Yeah. She's not fancy enough to live on the ground floor. She goes,
Yeah, I don't have two stories in my house, guys.
I'm just playing. No. Chris Sherry, if you're watching, thank you. But no one watches my show hardly. So no one in the United States hardly watches it. It's always people that have no idea who I am that watches it.
That's the best kind of people to watch it, though.
I know, because then I can fabricate all the stories
You can
and
just lie.
just lie. No, I'm kidding.
Guys, I'm not even real. I'm an actor Jake hired.
Yeah, honestly, but we go in, we are like, yes, I'm gonna do my master's, and then this brings me to like another question, just because every like master's is different, and this is so niche, and like I don't know much about it, and I love it so much from like what you've already said. Did when you came into this, did you have any? And you kind of talked about it a little bit, but did you have any like preconceived ideas about what all the like training and experience and like just academic work this master's would pertail? And did it match up to what you were expecting, or was it something completely different?
Yeah, I was preparing myself for a lot of work, and I knew it was going to be like a lot of project-based work. So I knew it had involved like some external partners that my program had used. It was going to be like a lot of hands-on work, a lot of reading my first year. And I like mentally prepared for that, but going in, it was a little overwhelming at first because it is such a wide variety of principles that we focused on during our program. But getting over that first semester and going into my second, I felt really like settled, and I had begun to apply like strategies on how to study and how to apply those things into my other projects.
That's cool. Like that's awesome. And I think that's such an important skill to learn, like how to kind of like skill transfer, like how do you develop skills in the academic setting and how to apply that into like real world experiences.
Yeah, I had never been someone who like I did not. Yolita, whoever from our high school, whoever's listening, I did not study a lot in high school because I was like, I knew what I was good at, so I didn't have to like work very hard at it. And like, I knew what I was bad at, and I knew how to maintain like a C in math. So I didn't try very hard. But going into my program, I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to have to try a little bit.
Yeah, isn't that the worst when you're like, oh damn, I gotta try at this
I
now.
can't skate by anymore. I have to try.
That's I don't know, like I kind of you like I knew what I was good at, so like science for me, I was just like, okay, I don't really have to try too hard on this, and then like I get to like college, my master's and my PhD, like stuff that I actually want to do. It's like, damn, can't really phone this in. Other people know this a lot better than I do. Got to actually try on this. Humbling very quickly, I swear.
Yes, very. That's what grad school is designed for, to humble you.
Yeah, grad school does a great job of something that you spent years studying and learning just to take you back to square one and be like, oh, you're an actual idiot. You don't know anything.
Yeah, I remember I had to take a class during the summer because I needed to catch up with the rest of my cohort, and I had taken it with one of the leads in our department, and it was just me and her. And I remember getting C after C on writing. I'm like, oh my God, how am I'm like a great writer. So like what's happening? And she's like, I don't think you're trying very hard. And I'm like, I'm not. So I like began to apply myself and like actually take in her critiques. And I was like getting A's by the end. It was like, yeah, it was a very humbling experience to say the least.
What growth. Honestly, the growth though, that's fantastic. Like from C's to A's in a semester. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
No.
If you just listen to the critiques, you guys, you'll learn. Who
I
knew?
I never want to listen to the critiques unless they're good.
No.
Like tell me I'm amazing or move on. Like, but
Exactly. Surely there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing.
yeah, no. I really relate to this because this past semester I was doing a project proposal in my advisor's class, which stinks because what I wanted to do, she was like an expert in the system I was working in, she was an expert in. So like she was able to critique mine like to a T, which like you want because you do want to get better.
Yeah.
But like she pulled me into her office like because we have like weekly meetings, and she goes, "I'm gonna get to yours, but I just want you to know like I'm a little bit of a harsh grader, and I don't mean it to be mean or whatever." And I go, "Oh no, like I don't take it personally," and I don't know why I lied. I've if I have to tell you I don't take it personally, that means I thought about it for weeks at a time, and I'm still thinking about it. I have never not taken anything personal.
I I am the same way. I do enjoy critiques. I love to be critiqued. I want you to tell me how I can be better and how I like what are strategies to become better. But at the same time, I need you to be very gentle.
Yeah,
Like, don't tell me I suck, but like, tell me how to get better.
yeah, and eventually you do them. Like you always do the critiques, and like
Yeah.
unfortunately you do get better, which is just it's the bane of my existence, honestly. Along with like exercising, because like have since I've been exercising and drinking more water, I do feel better, and like it just goes against everything I believe in.
It sucks that doing things that are better for you actually make you better. And it's like, I just don't want to do that.
No, I just want to show up and be given my trophy, like like I want to go home. So once we've like taken the critiques, and I think kind of echoing on like it's hard being critiqued in something that like you're used to getting praise for doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know Kaylee, for you, like you were a great writer, and like for me, um, I had already written a thesis at this point, uh, of this most recent time, and I've always been good at science. So like whenever I get critiqued on that, I'm like, wow, like I'm not nearly as good in this as I thought. That's what we have to remember. Like we went to be taught by people who were better than us, so we could be better.
Yeah. And it's just like getting perspective from someone else other than like your own eyes. Because when I know when like I'm writing, I'm the one writing the words. Like it's my thoughts. I'm very close to the work. So when I go to an outside person, my thoughts and my intents in my word in the words doesn't matter. It's how that person's reading it, how the message is coming across, and if it's what I want to present to an audience or if there's just something not working. Um, so to me, critiques are very important. It's not even just about improving work, it's making sure I'm getting my message across in the correct way to that person.
Yeah. And that's so important because good ideas mean nothing if they're not correctly communicated.
Yeah, it's very easy to mince words. Um, and I want to make sure that what I want to say is being read correctly because everyone reads things differently. So I want to make sure there's a majority of people reading it how I want them to.
Yeah. Unless you're mysterious and you're like, I don't know if you're like, unless you're Taylor Swift, you can't really get by with like being cryptic. Because I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
like, ma'am should get another honorary doctorate in like creative cryptic work. I don't know.
yeah. Not all of us can put Easter eggs into like just simple pictures on our Instagram.
And then be like, commented, she's a genius. Who he never misses.
Yeah, why is no one commenting that on my Instagram post? You see the right corner, the little silver thing? That's an Easter egg for this. No one's doing that on my Instagram.
No, I swear. Like, if I mean, I even try to do that, and it's like embarrassing, but like every episode I have of this show, I have like Easter eggs or callbacks to other episodes. And to me, I was like, I'm not Taylor Swift. No one's gonna catch these and no one's gonna care. But I love them though. But like, no, if someone be like, I had a time marker 32 minutes 46 seconds, he mentions this, which was also referenced in like like, I mean, no one's making up theories that I'm gay because they don't have to.
They don't have to.
No, they know too much. That's the fallback. But speaking of the people, you mentioned that when you were working on the podcast for your master's, Mythcast, which I highly recommend. Go check it out after you finish this episode. Of course, finish this. We're I don't know about you, but like for me, when I hear a group project, I go into fight or flight mode. So like, were you like, obviously like you're working with people who are obviously talented, but were you kind of like, oh, I don't know about this, like with a group project, because there's like, while there is more collaborative work and more ideas to pull from, there's also a lot more, not like risk factors, but there's a lot more moving parts that could derail the thing. So like, what were your thoughts going into that?
Yeah, so for this project, it was kind of interesting how we did it. We did a group project with some of my cohorts who wanted to be involved in this podcast, and how we divided it up is two of us took one episode. So it was a lot of moving parts of making sure everyone else was doing their episodes. But we also had like weekly meetings with like the bigger group. And then on a day-to-day basis, it was me and my partner, Deborah, who were working on our singular episode. So it was like a balancing act. I personally had a great partner. She was fantastic in just like listening to my ideas and like bouncing ideas off of each other. I find that collaborative spaces work best for me. I do like a hybrid of like, I like to be alone. I'm very like a person who likes to be with my thoughts and like to marinate on those. But I like having those thoughts that I can like share with another person and say, hey, what if we did XYZ for this episode? And she would be like, okay, those are good ideas, but realistically, how can we flesh those out? And it's just like having someone there to listen to and also to speak at, just to like get word vomit out.
No, totally. And I totally see how that is, because I'm kind of the same way. Like, I like a mix of being able to sit with my thoughts, really think about like what I want to go with and what I want to think about, but also having that other person to bounce ideas off of. And kind of like, I know for me, I can get like my head's in my clouds and be like, oh, I'm gonna do XYZ, and they're like, and I sometimes need someone to be like, okay, but like, we got 5 minutes. How are we gonna do that?
It's
So
like an accountability partner, like, because I am, just to harken back, I am a hot mess. I like am very much the creative stereotype where I could sit for hours and like I could dream different worlds and like I could write, I could paint, whatever. But I need someone who's there who can be a little more realistic than I can, to work in like time frames and making sure we are being realistic in our creative pursuit.
So I'm guessing like having all these moving parts to handle like was like honestly a great thing for you, because like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I love chaos. I I thrive in chaos, to be honest. I am like a mixture. I am that creative person, but I have like a little bit of a person in my head like, okay, we do need to stay on time. So it's like I have a devil and angel on my shoulder constantly, and they speak the most when we are in like the chaotic moments.
Yeah. I don't know. I know for me, like I unfortunately also thrive in chaos, and like if something's not due like the night before or like the day of, like I've always been this way, it's not gonna get done. I've tried working on things beforehand, and I gotta be honest, my best work is at the last minute.
Yeah. I am 100% on board with you. I have in like my career, I have begun to like try to force myself to do things to make sure I'm giving myself enough time. But I know um, some of the best things come when it's like the pressure's on a little bit. But I've definitely tried to take myself out of that chaotic situations at times.
I do gotta ask though, like as someone who's like worked on a podcast and produced it, are you like critical of like other people's podcasts? Like when you hear them and be like, oh, this is not how I would have done it.
Um, I try not to be because I don't want someone to look at my podcast like that.
That means yes, everybody. That means she does that.
That does mean yes. To be honest, I am a very judgmental person about creative things, but everyone does things differently, and that's all right. That's what I have to that's what I have to tell myself a lot. Everything's all right. People do things differently.
That's a very nice way of saying, you know what, we just have to let people suck, and that's okay.
I can be a nice person from time to time, Jacob.
Yeah. No, you are very nice. I'm just saying that be like, okay, no, like
Very diplomatic answer.
very diplomatic answer. Like when we all like oh, this is a hot take, but I think in 2024 we need to be like, oh, that was awful. Like you did that.
2024 in being honest, out, being too nice. Midwestern nice, out.
Midwestern hospitality in, Midwestern nice out.
Out.
We need I always say like I'm a kind person. I'm not nice.
Oh my God, yes. That's exactly who I am. I'm kind. I am not nice.
Yeah. And the other day, for example, like I had a professor who I won't name them, uh,
You know who you are.
but you know who you are. The driest lectures I've ever heard in my entire life. And
Oh.
the class is 50 minutes. He went on for an extra 20 minutes over. So a 50-minute class turned to a 70-minute class. And
And you ran away at the 20-minute. You're like, I gotta go. This is too much.
I couldn't. And then once that 15-minute mark hit up, I was like tapping my watch like very loudly. I was like,
Let's wrap it up.
let's wrap it up. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. Like, unless you are giving a life-saving diagnosis, no one wants to be in a classroom longer than a scheduled thing is. Like, no one is.
No.
Like, but so some people are like, Jacob, you were tapping your watch very loudly. It's like, I know, I'll tap louder next time. Like, that was ridiculous. But I'm just I can understand like going a little bit over, but like, come on, like have some awareness. Like, it's not your first time teaching.
Oh my God, 100%. I like to be on time. I like meetings to be efficient. I don't want to be there any more than we have to. I want them to be concise. We don't need to dawdle for another 20 minutes. That's too much.
Literally. So kind of pivoting. You mentioned before you're an account executive. Do you feel like a lot of the skills that you learn, just because honestly I don't entirely understand that, and I'm sure like I hope our audience like is enjoying me asking this question and I'm not just dumb asking it. But do you find that you're able to transition a lot of what you learned during your undergrad and your master's into this role?
Yeah, so I use a lot of like my writing skills that I got from my PR degree in my everyday work, like writing up creative briefs and setting up schedules and budgets for my teams. But also from my master's degree, what we focused on a lot of the time was project management. And my basic job, if you aren't aware what account executive does, is to be like a liaison between the client and our creative teams, to make sure that they are doing what the client asks within the client budget, within reasonable timing. So a lot of those management skills come in handy to everyday work that we do. It's talking to the creative and making sure that they understand what the ask is, and B, making sure that we are setting realistic timing for them.
That's so cool. And I bet that, I mean, obviously you talked about it, but as someone who has that like PR, like public relations background, along with being a creative person, like that feels like such a perfect blend of both your degrees and a job.
Yeah, it definitely is. It a lot of skills are kind of like old hand now, like um skills that I have known for a long time, but I feel like are challenged every day as I'm going into like bigger clients and taking more responsibility on in like teamwork. It is like a good combination of the two degrees. Um, and it's kind of like, I always joke that my career is kind of like a mosaic that I keep building from like past things, like my PR degree. I've taken bits and pieces from that, and molded them into my current iteration of my career. And I'm not someone who wants to stay on one path in my entire life. I would like to keep growing and changing. I don't know what like my dream career is, but I like where I am now, and I like continuing to challenge myself and becoming a better professional every day. Not to be too cheesy.
I always like look at your like LinkedIn profile because like the thing is like you stay so engaged on that. And I'm just trying to like, okay, this is how I adult in the real world, in the professional world. And I just think,
Yeah. I
and
think LinkedIn is kind of like I don't personally enjoy like LinkedIn, but it is a way to stay engaged in like your profession and to learn from other professionals.
yeah, I don't like LinkedIn either, but like, yeah, unfortunately you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like this is an adult thing. I have to do it if I want to continue to find work.
It's like jury duty. Like no one wants to, got to.
It is, and you're lying if you say you love it.
Yeah, like I don't know. Don't even get me started on jury duty. That's just wild. Be like, it's essentially like, all right, besties, time to take off work. We gotta solve a murder trial. Like what? Like like what? Like I'm sorry if they confess to it on their Snapchat private story. I'm not saying like that's like be like that didn't happen.
It's just wild.
I know, but in all seriousness, like your outlook on career and just like this mosaic, because like the world's constantly changing, and I think that's so impressive. Like at because you are very young, but like you already have like so much experience and skills and talent, and just like the way that you're able to kind of shape that and be like, these are the skills that I have. I'm still growing, I'm still changing, and having that kind of like mindset that like this is what I'm doing, but like it's not. I'm not going to limit myself to just this. I think that's so an impressive and cool mindset to have.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just not someone who believes in limits. And I think it is like that mindset that I've always had, that I could do anything if I tried, and I don't ever want to limit myself to one thing in life. If there's something that comes along that I think could be life changing for me or a better fit for me, I always want to open myself up to pursuing those things and making sure that I am living life to the fullest at with the time that I'm allotted.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's such a good mindset. Thank you for coming to Kaylee's TED Talk.
Yeah, thank you. Please pay me all the TED Talk rates. I'm sure they make $1 million every single one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Easy. Kaylee, we're about wrapping it up, but my final question of this interview is if you were to go back in time to your younger past academic professional self, uh, what advice would you give her?
I think I would tell her, my undergrad self, to take my academics a little more seriously. It's not going to hurt me, but it's always important to focus on what I'm learning currently and not thinking what's coming next. Just to focus on the now, and take them seriously. These are important groundwork skills that I'm going to be laying the foundation of the rest of my career on. So take those a little more seriously than you are. And that it's all okay, that this is not the end of the world. There's always going to be a next.
Oh, that's so good. Good answer. I feel like Family Feud. Like, good answer.
Good answer. Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, I feel like I have this horrible idea of being like, I'm suited for reality television. And I know if I go on there and be like, wow, this is the most boring thing I've ever seen. Because I'm not nice, but I'm also not confrontational.
No, me and my roommate were watching Love Island, and she was like, what would you be if you came into Love Island as a bombshell? Those are people that come in the middle of the season to like break up couples. I'm like, I know who I am as a person, but I know that if I go on reality TV, I need to play a villain. I need to just lean into it.
Yeah. In theory, I would love to be a villain, but I know in practicality, I do not have the strength to do it.
I know.
Well, Kailey, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad you had fun. So dispel the rumors out there, everyone. There's no rumors. I don't know why. I don't know why I do this. This is stupid.
Sometimes you got to stir your own tea.
Yeah. I'd be like Hillary Duff, like calling TMZ, like when I'm arriving somewhere.
Yes. Just sometimes you have to make up rumors about yourself and see where they go.
Honestly, I mean, hey, I made up one about me being gay, and here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Be careful what you whisper, guys.
Be careful.
It'll come true.
Yeah. I'm so stupid. But Kailey, before we go, is there any piece of advice you'd want to tell our audience, or a word of warning or caution or critique? Who knows?
Keep listening to Jake's podcast. It's amazing, you guys. Keep supporting.
See, I told y'all she was clearly a intellectual ahead of her time. Like, honestly, like a true modern day Albert Einstein.
You're going to pay me the 25 after this, right? For saying that?
We'll talk rates later.
Oh my God.
Oh, I love you. You're so funny.
Thanks.
Welcome. Well, Kailey, thank you again for coming on. And to everyone at home, always take it personally.
It's always personal.
It's always personal. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.